Welcome to the garage. Well, I'm carrying on with the Ford Sierra Sapphire project here. And currently I'm in the process of choosing the right front subframe for the car. So on this occasion I went ahead and pulled out all the Sierra and Scorpio subframes I had in stock. I thought it would be a good idea, since I have them all here by hand, and compare them back to back, quite literally. Me myself am trying to make this Sierra Sapphire all-wheel drive, but this little comparison we'll do today will be beneficial for many people that are wondering which subframe will fit their Sierra or Scorpio maybe, and which exactly are available and or sensible to swap it over. So the short answer to the question, will this fit my Sierra/Scorpio, is yes. I've done my research, and by simple search on the forums you will find out that these mounting points here are exactly the same on all the Sierra and Scorpio models. So if we take a look here on the chassis, these 4 holes will line up perfectly, well, if the subframe isn't bent or something, to these 4 holes here. You see, here there come these bolts, and yeah, you pretty much just bolt it right in and you got these nuts welded on here. So that's it, the long story short. I've actually tried fitting them all on there, and I fitted every one of those except for the bent ones. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at each of them. First of all, let's see what we got here. This one, I got it all labeled, so that's it's 100% right. This whole thing is off of this very car. Originally it came in 1.6 variant, the monopoint injection engine, which is right there. Okay, never mind. So that's that. Then we got the cross member from the Sierra estate. This one is quite heavily bent because I have dragged it with a little excessive force. So we surely won't be using this one. Then here we got the one from 2-liter double overhead cam engine Sierra. Then we have an original cross member of a Sierra RS Cosworth. This is the real deal, and this steering rack is actually very fast. It's actually 2.5 turns from one way to another. I'm aiming to put this one on the Sierra. Okay, not to waste too much time, we are already at the Scorpio. It says Scorpio 1 here. That means Scorpio Mark 1 with 2.9 liter 12 valve engine. Okay, getting more extravagant as we go. This is off of a Scorpio Mark II. This one is actually off of a Scorpio Cosworth. We can see here this one is much different shape than all the other ones. But okay, we'll go into details a bit later. And in the end we got one from Sierra XR 4x4. This one is also much different by dimensions. Okay, so that's what we got. So let's take a little walk here, and let me walk you through all of these. So long story short, this one, and the Cosworth one as well are the same exact subframes. Believe it or not, that is actually the case. The Ford company made it very easy for us, as we can just check here and see the serial number. And I've actually checked, I got my little notes here. The serial number is 86-BB-5019-AA006520. So that's it, the same for double overhead cam, the Sierra Estate 1.6i Sapphire, this one, and RS Cosworth as well. So that's actually it, we've dealt with all of these. Moving on, we got Scorpio Mark 1 subframe. This one looks very similar to the Sierra cross members, but this one has a different serial number. This serial number reads 85-GB-5019-BB06520. So this one is a bit different. looking at it, I've noticed no differences except for these square holes here. The Sierra ones are a little bit different. See? They just don't have that square holes there. I actually checked and fitted all of those on the Sierra, as I stated before, and I've actually marked on the car where these swing arm mounting points end up. Okay, on the Scorpio Mark II we don't have to elaborate too much, except for that it is very impressive and kind of weird that yeah, actually this one fits like a glove on the Sierra as well. We can see here that it is a different type. This one has these, let's say, more modern type arms. Those I think are called wishbone arms. I've read on some forums that using this subframe on the Sierra will give you some camber, you know, that means the wheels, you know, will stand a little like this. Driving in that way, you know, so let's say this is the right wheel, will go like this a little, but this gain, while noticeable, isn't that big. I'm pretty sure that it actually comes from these trailing arms being a little longer here, and we can actually confirm that by just putting, in this case, RS Cosworth anti-roll bar over this one, like so. Let me just line that up. And just like so, I'm sure you can see I got those lined up pretty nicely. And yeah, you can see here how this one, Scorpio one, is a little more to the side. You see? This is the original Sierra one. This is the difference here in trailing arm length. So you could tell here already. And also I have measured it with a simple measurement tool though, but it was noticeable. The difference in this dimension here, from body to this center of the lower ball joint here, is approximately 10 millimeters compared to Sierra. That means about a centimeter more in that way. Pedro! Okay, moving on to the Scorpio Cosworth crossmember. Now this one makes quite a lot of difference. Here, this dimension is actually 3 centimeters more than original on the Sierra. So using this one should give you plenty of camber. Maybe even too much, who knows, we'll have to try it out. Alright, moving on to the most interesting one, at least for me. As you can see, this one is made of aluminum. So that's one specialty. The other special thing about this one in particular is that, yeah, it's missing some parts. That's my fault because I actually cut this out. Here there should be 2 more parts, you know, and here actually the engine would sit, the original one. But I actually cut this when I was again fitting the sub engine in there. But actually it's not such a shame because this subframe here was welded excessively in the past. Not by me, but yeah, that Sierra XR 4x4 lived a quite crazy life, let's say. Anyway, it is also cracked in the front end and yeah, bent a little as well. So that's one way to feel better about it. Anyways, back to the topic. The main difference with this crossmember here is that the mounting points of the trailing arms are actually moved to the front. If we see here, you know, comparing these 2 mounting holes to this trailing arm placement here, and if you compare it to this standard Sierra, this trailing arm comes much more to the back side. You see, it's almost in the middle here of those holes. And this is actually my main problem here. The reason this one is shaped like this is that it has to clear some things, you know. The 4x4 engine is a bit bigger. And by bigger, I mean it has this big differential fitted to it. And as you can see here, this shallow part of the oil pan is quite short if we compare it to a rear-wheel drive engine, which one I have pretty conveniently right here. See that? This shallow part is much longer here. And of course, the last very obvious thing is this shape of the subframe here. You see? This actually has a big hole here in comparison to a rear-wheel drive one. You see here, this is all closed. The reason for that is, yeah, very obvious, and it should be clear by now. As these hubs come fitted like so, if you want a four-wheel drive, you have to have some drive shafts in the front as well. So actually, as you can see here, quite some space is needed. But on this cross member of a Sierra XR 4x4, not only the mounting dimensions of the swing arms are different here, also the swing arms are differently shaped, which results in this center being a bit more to the outside, similarly to the Scorpio Mark 1. So this cross member would give you a little more camber compared to the standard Sierra rear-wheel drive ones, but this ball joint here also comes a little more to the front, almost a centimeter in that way. So using this setup, again in comparison to the standard rear-wheel drive Sierra one, would also give you some more caster. So that's interesting as well. Also, one very important and maybe not so obvious difference between 4x4 arms and standard arms is this mounting point. You see? This one is actually shorter and it locks with a pin and not with a nut. We can see here, all these come fitted like so, you see? You just bolt it down here and it's like a cone shaped. But this one isn't cone shaped. And you see why? Because there is actually no place for a nut here. So that's the only way, you know, you have to get a pin in there and lock this thing in place. So that's another thing to consider, especially me, because I want a 4x4 Sierra. So now let me just quickly show you how I measured those basic dimensions. Actually, I took a point from here and also on the other side, you see here, I marked it. Then did my best to put the ball joint vertically and then just measured it. It might seem pretty crude and not very precise way, but you know, for such comparative results, it worked just fine. Also, you might be wondering what this drawing here represents. These actually represent the positions of the trailing arm mounting points. I wrote here DOHC. This is for the standard subframe. Here we got the Scorpio Mark II Cosworth placement, and here the XR 4x4. You can see here it's kind of a, let's say, for a good 2 centimeters to the front compared to the standard one. So I'll have to keep that in mind while mounting the 4x4 setup. Okay, while we're at it, we can also measure the anti-roll bar thicknesses. Of course, these are exchangeable between the Sierras, but not between Sierras and Scorpios, right? Because we've seen those are different. And of course, the 4x4 variant is a story for itself. But we can compare the Sierra anti-roll bars. Someone might stiffen up the front end or whatever. So on the standard 1.6i, we got 28 millimeters. On the estate, 28.5. That's no real difference, 28.3. On the 2-liter, you got 24. That's interesting. Actually quite thinner, 24. And of course, on the Sierra RS Cosworth, 28.2. So that's interesting. Not to say that harder is always better, right? So actually, yeah, the Sierra RS Cosworth seems to be the same exact thickness of the estate and the standard 1.6i. 1.6 one injector Hero. I'm not really sure that the material is really the same, but if I would have to guess, I would say it is the same, but not making any claims here. And even if we cannot swap them over, the Scorpio Mark I 27.15 and the XR 4x4 we got 26 almost. So that's it for the anti-roll bars. So that's gonna be it for this video. I hope you found something useful. I think despite having such wide array of subframes, I will end up making a custom one, at least for the 4x4 version. I am attempting to make this kind of switchable, not really switchable, but you know, available to convert easily enough between rear-wheel drive and all-wheel drive. But still, I want to try the 4x4 first, even though rear-wheel drive would be much simpler, as we found out today. But anyways, I think I will be doing kind of a copy of this one. I will try and put the engine as back as possible, although I don't think I will be able because I won't be modifying the firewall. But anyways, for those few that are interested, this cross member is all beat up and also bent. It is bent towards one side, so I don't really want to use this one. To buy one, they are quite expensive. 250 euros or so, I might just go ahead and make one myself, even though not aluminium. Other reason I wouldn't want to use this one is because the steering rack, this short steering rack of a Sierra RS Cosworth, is mounted differently, you see? It's mounted from the back, you see? While this one is mounted from the front side, you see? That's why I think I will be doing a copy of this one, well, a copy with enhancements, let's say. So that's gonna be interesting as well. But anyways, that's it for today. I hope you learned something new. And if you like this kind of videos, consider subscribing. We got many projects going on here, and I kindly invite you to join us. I'll see you in the next one. Be good.